Somewhere tonight, a woman lies in the dark, replaying a sentence someone said to her 20 years ago. She does not remember the day, the room, or the weather outside the window, but she remembers the words, and she has carried them like stones in her pockets ever since. You're not good enough. You'll never make it. Money doesn't come easily to people like us. She does not question these sentences anymore. They simply feel like the truth, the way the ceiling above her feels like the ceiling, fixed, certain, unchangeable. Somewhere else, a man stares at the same four walls he has stared at for years, wondering why love keeps slipping through his fingers, why opportunity seems to favor everyone but him, why no matter how hard he works, ease never seems to arrive. He does not know that the belief was planted decades ago, in a moment so small no one else would remember it, and that he has been watering it every single day since, without ever realizing he held the seed at all. Louise Hay once said that the thoughts we think and the words we speak create our experiences. If this is true, then somewhere beneath every locked door, every repeating disappointment, every familiar ache, there is simply an old belief, waiting patiently to be noticed, forgiven, and finally released. Tonight is different. Tonight, as the body softens into rest, those old beliefs will be gently lifted, one by one, like stones removed from a pocket no longer needed. There is nothing to force, nothing to fix. Only permission, to let go, to sleep, and to wake up just a little lighter than before. Welcome back to the Louise Hay Manifest channel, the place where you come to rest your body and quietly rewrite the beliefs that have been running your life from somewhere beneath your awareness. If you are here, something in you already knows that the life you are living right now is not simply the result of luck, timing, or circumstance. It is the result of beliefs, many of them formed before you even had the words to question them. Louise Hay taught that the subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is true and what is simply repeated often enough. A child who hears, "Money is hard to come by," 1,000 times will grow into an adult who unconsciously makes money hard to come by, not because it has to be that way, but because the mind is simply doing what minds do, confirming what it has been told. Tonight's meditation is designed to work with you while you sleep, when the conscious, analyzing mind finally steps aside and the subconscious mind becomes open, receptive, and remarkably willing to accept new, gentler instructions. You do not need to stay awake for this to work. You do not need to believe every word right away. You only need to let your body rest, let your breathing slow, and let the words drift into you the way water drifts into soil, quietly, without resistance, doing their work in the dark. Across the next several chapters, you will be guided through a gentle release of beliefs around self-worth, money, love, the past, and the identity you are ready to leave behind. Each chapter builds on the one before it, softening you further into the kind of deep, restorative sleep where real change becomes possible. There is nothing you need to do except listen, breathe, and allow. So if you are ready, find a comfortable position, let your eyes close, and let this be the night decades of limiting belief finally begin to dissolve. Where limiting beliefs begin. Every limiting belief you carry began somewhere, a comment, a glance, a moment of fear in someone else's voice that you absorbed as your own truth before you ever had the chance to question it. As a child, you did not have the ability to separate fact from opinion. If someone you trusted said, "We don't have enough," your young mind simply recorded it as law, and your adult life has been quietly obeying that law ever since. Louise Hay often reminded her students that the patterns of childhood become the prisons of adulthood not because childhood was cruel, but because a child's mind cannot yet tell the difference between someone's fear and the actual nature of reality. Tonight, you do not need to remember every single moment a belief was formed. You only need to recognize that it was formed, which means it can also be unformed, gently, like a knot loosening in warm water. Notice, without judgment, that you may have spent years defending a belief that was never even yours to begin with, inherited from a parent's worry, a teacher's offhand remark, a culture's quiet agreement that some people simply don't get to have certain things. As your body settles deeper into the bed beneath you, allow yourself to consider a new idea. That belief is not truth. Belief is simply a thought you have practiced so many times it now feels solid, And if a thought can become solid through repetition, then a new, kinder thought can become solid the same way, through gentle, patient repetition, especially in the soft and receptive hours of sleep. You are not broken for having believed the old story. You were simply a child, or a young adult, doing the best you could with the information you were given at the time. Tonight, as your breathing slows and your shoulders drop away from your ears, give yourself permission to stop defending the old belief. It served its purpose. It kept you safe in a moment that has already passed. Let yourself feel, even faintly, the relief of no longer needing to be right about your own limitation. The old belief can simply rest now, the way you are about to rest, no longer needed, no longer carried. Settling the body, quieting the mind. Let your attention move gently down into your feet. There is nothing to do here except notice them, soften them, and let them sink heavily into the mattress beneath you. As you breathe in slowly, imagine warmth gathering in your toes, spreading like a slow tide up through your ankles, releasing any tension that has gathered there from the day now behind you. Let this warmth rise into your calves and knees, dissolving the tightness of standing, walking, holding yourself upright for so many hours. There is nowhere to hold yourself upright now. You are already supported. Feel your thighs grow heavy, your hips widen slightly into the bed, your lower back finally releasing the subtle bracing it has carried since morning, perhaps since long before that. Bring your attention to your stomach and chest. With each exhale, let them soften further, releasing not just muscle, but the quiet effort of holding emotions in place, the way you might hold a door closed against wind. Notice your shoulders. So often, this is where the weight of old belief settles, the belief that you must carry everything alone. Let your shoulders drop, just slightly, into the mattress, releasing that old, unnecessary weight. Let this softening travel down your arms, into your hands, your fingers uncurling gently, releasing whatever they have been gripping. Control, certainty, the need to force outcomes that were never yours to force. Bring your awareness to your neck and jaw, two places where unspoken words and unspoken beliefs often hide. Let your jaw loosen. Let your throat soften. There is nothing you need to say or defend right now. Feel the muscles of your face release, your forehead smoothing, the space between your eyebrows unclenching, your eyelids growing pleasantly heavy, as though they were never meant to do anything but rest. Your body is now a quiet, open space, soft, supported, and safe. In this state, the subconscious mind becomes far more receptive to new beliefs, gentler beliefs, beliefs that finally serve the life you actually want to live. Releasing the belief, I am not enough. Somewhere inside many of us lives a quiet, persistent whisper, I am not enough. Not smart enough, not attractive enough, not accomplished enough, not lovable simply as I am. This belief rarely arrives all at once. It accumulates slowly, through comparisons, through silences where encouragement should have been, through moments when love felt conditional on performance. Louise Hay taught that the subconscious mind cannot create what it does not believe is possible, which means a belief in not enoughness quietly blocks the very things you most want to receive. Tonight, in this soft and undefended state, allow yourself to question that old whisper. Ask gently, whose voice was that, originally? Was it ever truly mine? You were enough the moment you were born, before you achieved anything, before you proved anything, before anyone judged you at all. That original enoughness never actually left, it was simply buried beneath layers of comparison and fear. As you breathe slowly here, imagine those layers beginning to lift, one by one, like sheets of fog dissolving in early morning light, revealing something that was whole all along. Silently, without effort, let this new thought settle into you. I am enough exactly as I am, in this moment, in this bed, in this breath. You do not need to force yourself to believe this fully tonight. You only need to let the idea rest gently in your mind, the way a seed rests in soil before anything visible happens. Let your body relax a little further as this thought settles, because the body often holds not enoughness as tension, and tension, too, can simply be released, breath by breath, layer by layer. Tonight, as you drift closer to sleep, let this be true. Enoughness was never something you needed to earn. It was always yours. It is simply being remembered now, quietly, while you rest. Releasing old stories about money and abundance. Many of us inherited beliefs about money long before we ever earned a single coin, beliefs absorbed from worried conversations, tight budgets, or the quiet tension that filled a home when bills arrived. Louise Hay often spoke of money as simply another form of energy, flowing freely when we feel safe and worthy, constricting when we believe, even quietly, that we do not deserve ease. Notice, without shame, any old belief you may be holding. Money is hard to come by. There's never enough. People like me don't get wealthy. These are simply sentences, repeated until they felt like fact. Tonight, let your breathing slow further as you consider a different possibility, that abundance is not something you must chase, but something that flows naturally once the inner blocks against it are released. Imagine, gently, a wide and generous river, abundance flowing toward you not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped damming it with fear, scarcity, and old family stories. Let yourself silently consider, I am open to receiving ease. I am open to money flowing toward me in expected and unexpected ways. I no longer need struggle to prove my worth. There is no need to grip this new belief tightly. Beliefs that are gripped too tightly often resist taking root. Simply let the thought rest softly in your mind, the way moonlight rests on water. Notice if any tension remains in your chest or stomach around the subject of money. With your next exhale, let that tension soften just slightly, releasing a fraction of the old fear with each breath. You were not born believing money was difficult. That belief was given to you. Tonight, you are simply handing it back, gently, without anger, and making space for something more spacious to take its place. As sleep draws closer, let this settle quietly into your subconscious. I am safe. I am supported. Abundance is not a struggle, but a natural state I am gently returning to. Releasing wounds around love and relationships. Many limiting beliefs about love were formed in childhood, in moments of inconsistent affection, in homes where love felt conditional, in the absence of someone who should have stayed but didn't. From these moments, beliefs quietly took root. Love always leaves. I have to earn affection. If I show my true self, I will be rejected. These beliefs were never truths, only conclusions drawn by a frightened, younger version of you. Louise Hay taught that the love we believe we deserve is the love we tend to allow into our lives, which means changing the belief is often the first step to changing the pattern. Tonight, let your body soften further as you consider this gently. I no longer need old wounds to define what love is allowed to look like. Picture, if you wish, the younger version of you who first learned that love was unreliable. Imagine speaking to them softly. That was not your fault. You were always worthy of steady, safe love. Let any tightness in your chest loosen slightly with your next breath, as though something that has been clenched for years is finally being given permission to open, even just a little. Silently allow this thought to settle. I am worthy of love that stays, love that is calm, love that does not require me to shrink myself to be accepted. There is no urgency in this release. Old relationship wounds do not need to disappear all at once. They simply need permission to soften, night after night, breath after breath. If old heartbreak surfaces gently as you listen, let it pass through you like a cloud passing across the moon, present, then gone, taking a little of its weight with it. As you drift further into rest, let this become quietly true. I release the belief that love must be difficult. I open myself to love that is easy, mutual, and kind. Forgiving the past, freeing the present. Forgiveness, as Louise Hay often described it, is not about excusing what happened. It is about releasing yourself from the heavy task of carrying it forward, night after night, year after year. Every grudge, every old resentment, every unspoken hurt you still carry takes up quiet space in your mind, space that could instead be filled with rest, ease, and possibility. Tonight, you do not need to forgive everyone all at once. You only need to be willing to imagine what it might feel like to finally set the weight down. Picture someone you have been holding resentment toward, even faintly. You do not need to excuse what they did. You simply acknowledge, they were operating from their own fear, their own limitation, their own unhealed wounds. As you exhale, imagine releasing a small thread of that resentment, letting it drift away like smoke from a candle just blown out, present a moment ago, gone now, leaving the air a little clearer. Now bring gentle attention to yourself. Is there a version of you, younger, more afraid, less aware, that you have been silently blaming for old mistakes, old decisions, old beliefs? Offer that version of yourself the same compassion you might offer a tired child. You did not know better yet. You were doing the best you could with what you had. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is simply the choice to stop paying rent on a room you no longer live in, a past moment that has already ended, except in the mind that keeps replaying it. As your body grows heavier, more relaxed, more ready for sleep, let yourself imagine the past growing smaller behind you, like a shoreline fading as a boat moves gently forward into open water. Silently affirm, if you wish, I forgive the past. I release its grip on my present. I am free to move forward, lighter than I was before tonight. Becoming the person who already has what you want. Louise Hay believed that change does not begin with circumstances, it begins with identity, with the quiet, repeated belief about who you are and what you are allowed to have. Tonight, as you rest on the edge of sleep, imagine gently stepping into the identity of someone who has already released these old limiting beliefs, calmer, lighter, more at ease in their own life. This version of you does not need to struggle for worth, for money, for love. They already know, in their bones, that they are enough, supported, and capable of receiving good things. Imagine this version of you waking up tomorrow morning. Notice how they move slightly slower, breathe slightly deeper, smile a little more easily, simply because the old weight has been set down. You do not need to force this identity into existence through effort. You simply allow it. The way a seed does not force itself to grow, it simply receives water, warmth, and time. Let your subconscious mind, now open and receptive in this drowsy state, quietly accept this new identity as familiar, as natural, as simply who you have always been beneath the old beliefs. Silently repeat, if you wish, without strain, I am worthy. I am at ease. I receive love, abundance, and peace naturally, because that is who I truly am. There is nothing left to prove tonight. There is nowhere left to rush toward. There is only this soft, quiet permission to rest as the person you are becoming. As sleep draws closer, let every remaining tension in your body dissolve completely, releasing the final traces of the old beliefs that no longer have a place in your life. Sleep now, knowing that something gentle and important has shifted tonight, not through force, but through release, through rest, through simply allowing yourself to let go. As you drift now into deep, restorative sleep, know that nothing more is required of you tonight. The beliefs that no longer serve you have been gently acknowledged, softened, and released, not through struggle, but through the simple, quiet permission you gave yourself to let them go. Whatever surfaced for you tonight, whether memories, emotions, or simply a deeper sense of calm, trust that your subconscious mind continues this gentle work long after these words have ended, long after you have stopped consciously listening. Louise Hay reminded us, again and again, that we are each far more capable of change than we often believe, not through forceful effort, but through patient, repeated kindness toward ourselves. Tonight was simply one more step in that direction, one more layer of old limitations softened, one more night where your subconscious mind was given permission to imagine something gentler, something freer, something closer to who you have always been beneath the noise. If this meditation supported you tonight, consider returning to it again tomorrow night, and the night after that. Beliefs that took years to form often soften gradually, not all at once, and there is no need to rush this process. For now, simply allow yourself to rest completely, knowing that you are safe, you are supported, and you are already, quietly, becoming someone a little lighter than you were before. Sleep deeply now. Sleep well.